Hello everyone, myself Dr. Pallavi Bapat Pinge from Reading Kida Library Nagpur, and here we are for our fourth episode of Neurodiversity series. And this time our topic is no hearing impairment through books and films. And as always, we have our constant supporter with us, Sonali Medhekar. She is with us from Delhi and she is a counseling psychologist. And I would like to welcome Sonali. Welcome, Sonali.
Hello, Pallavi. It's my pleasure to join again with you and Reading Kida Library.
Yeah. So, okay, I think Sonali was saying something. Let me see. Sonali, I'm not able to understand you.
Yes, sorry. So, I was just trying to say that hello, how are you? Good, and good afternoon.
Oh my God. So yeah, Sonali was using Indian Sign Language, and I would like to tell our viewers over here that she has recently learned and got trained herself in Indian Sign Language. And here we could all see this, that how a person who is using sign language is not able to communicate with others who don't know sign language. And this is the reason that today we are here to understand people with hearing impairment. And I think the best medium or the most easily available medium for all of us to understand about it is through books and films. So let's dive into the topic, and we will be stating some questions and both of us will be answering it together as and when required. So the first question that we have is, what is hearing impairment? So hearing impairment is the inability to hear or having difficulty in hearing. That's why it could be from not able to hear from one ear or both ears at all to having some mild degree of hearing losses. So it can be mild, moderate, severe hearing loss, or severe profound hearing loss, or profound hearing loss. So that's a big range. So there are a range of people who are included in this impairment. So to just simplify, it's difficulty in hearing, and that's why it's called hearing impairment. And if we say that what are the types of hearing impairment? So one could be that a baby is born with congenital hearing impairment. That is, since birth, the baby is not able to hear either from both ears or from one ear. That is one kind of hearing impairment. The other could be acquired hearing impairment, which along the life can happen anytime during the childhood, during adulthood, and there could be a number of reasons for that. There could be some ear infections, or there could be some trauma, head trauma, or in adulthood some kind of accidents, or as we all know, as we grow old, it could be senile hearing loss also. So this is the whole range of acquired hearing loss. But Sonali, can you tell me anything more that can we classify hearing loss, or rather I would say hearing impairment, in some another way also?
Yes, definitely. The explanation you have given is really good. Apart from that, what I came across in books and references is that there is one hearing loss or hearing impairment which is prelingual. That is, hearing capacity is lost before that person has learned any language, okay, any spoken language, be it their mother tongue or any kind of language that they have acquired. And second one is the postlingual hearing loss. So let's say to 5 or 6 years, or maybe even 10 to 11 years, the child had proper hearing capacity. They learned their mother tongue, they started communicating in one or two languages, and then suddenly some of the accidents happen or some of the incidences happen, and because of which their hearing capacity is lost. So there are these two differences, and as we can just imagine, and we will be elaborating it further in our episode, how these two can also be very, very different from each other, and how each one of them has its own impact. So,
Hmm.
would you like to tell us something about, what is HI, like hearing impairment, and the connection between language development?
Yeah. So like you said that there could be hearing impairment before the language is developed, and there could be hearing impairment after the language is developed. So there is a direct relation between hearing impairment and acquisition of language, because as we all know that babies when they are born, they can't speak, they just cry, but they respond to human voices. Like if the baby is crying and the mother comes, oh my baby, and takes the baby in her hand, and the mother is talking, so the child starts soothing and starts stop crying. So this is what the child is listening, child is responding to human voices. So from the initial period only, our brain is accepting different kind of human voices also, or any kind of voices or noises that are coming around in the surrounding. And once we start receiving that, then only the ability to express or the ability to speak comes. So after around say 6 7 months, the child starts making noises. There are various ba ba ba, da kind of voices which do not mean anything at that point of time, but gradually when we tell them, yes, baba is your father or dada is your daddy, anything like that, then the child starts relating it with the word, and gradually the first word comes, which nearly comes around first year of age. So this closely it is related that if the child is able to hear well, the child is able to absorb various sounds, and then only the child will be able to make those sounds. And once the child makes those sounds, a confirmation is given by parents that this particular sound means this, and then the child starts using language. So that's why hearing is like fundamental for development of language, a speech, I will say, or I will say oral language. And that's why we will be coming ahead that how, what is the option for people with hearing impairment, so what is their language, we'll come into that. But yes, language development and speech development for that hearing is fundamental, and that's why as guidelines by Indian Academy of Pediatrics, it is very essential to detect hearing loss or hearing impairment in babies as early as possible. We follow this 136 formula that by the 1 month of age, the babies should be screened for hearing. And by 3 months of age, it should be confirmed that if there any hearing impairment is there. And if it is there by 6 months of age, the child should be given hearing aids or such kind of aids which will help the child to start hearing, so that child's acquisition of language is not affected. And it has been observed that if a baby who gets this support at 6 months of age achieves language at par at the age of 3-year-old with a baby who had normal hearing since birth. So if a 3-year-old baby has around 700 to 900 words vocabulary, this child will have around 600 to 700 words of vocabulary, who was detected with hearing impairment but got corrected or got support before 6 months of age. So this is the importance of hearing and language together, and that's why it's very, very important. I want to ask you, Sonali, over here that what is the history of the word hearing impairment? Because when we're talking about language, we have also heard some words which were not taken into right direction or were not considered appropriate while referring to people with hearing impairment. So can you put some light on that?
Yes, sure, Dr. Pandini. So earlier it was called as deaf and dumb. Okay, so now it is deaf and mute or hearing impaired, but earlier it was called as deaf and dumb. Why so? Because what used to happen is that when they had no language which is developed in, let's say, during early 1800s or so, the sign language or using any sign was not allowed. Okay, it was prohibited. So they were forced to use verbal language only, and as a result, these children did not develop that kind of verbal communication skill. So they were cut off from their culture. Okay, it was almost like a calamity for them because you are not able to hear and you are not able to communicate anything. So it appeared as if the child or the person has no skills. So they were cut off from the entire society, like property rights or right of gaining more education or any rights which any adult, respected adult can have by birth. They were completely denied. to people with hearing impairment. So that's why they were called as deaf and dumb. But of course, later on, as sign language became more acceptable, rather science became more acceptable, then there was emergence of some sign language. There is a huge role of Florent, Mr. Florent. Let me just get the name right. Yes, Mr. Laurent Clerk. So he has a major role in bringing sign language to US and developing that sign language into the national sign language and establishing the school. He was the first teacher in yes, who is having this sign language, and that school is also very famous now. So that's how then later on it became acceptable, and then it was seen that yes, sign language is also equivalent to the verbal language. The same kind of intellectuality, the same kind of depth to conversations and understanding can also be brought by use of the sign language. And then slowly the name changed, and now it is more accepted to sign. And at the same time, the more acceptance and respect is towards people who are hearing impaired. Of course, there is a long way to go, but at least it is better than what we have seen in history.
Right, right. So,
So,
like you said, that these people were deprived of their rights also, and they had a very difficult time in the past. And sign language has somehow helped us bridge those problems and reduce their problems to some extent. So, can we talk more about sign language now? That okay, we understood that sign language is the language for people with hearing impairment. So let's go into the details of it if we
yes, yes. So as I said, there was Laurent Clerc in US who was originally from France, and then he went to US and established this sign language, which became the national sign language of America. Similarly, all the countries have their own sign language. According to their culture and context, the language is developed. In India, of course, we have one sign language, Indian Sign Language, but at the same time, some of the words are different in some of the states, but usually sign language, Indian Sign Language will be accepted in all the states. There are still some debates about which sign language to be followed, whether to do lip sync while doing
can.
signing, or whether not to use any lip sync while signing. Those debates are there, but a lot of people are coming ahead and started using or learning Indian Sign Language. So during this pandemic, we have seen that many organizations, there was one organization from Indore, there was one organization from Delhi called as Atulya Kada. They have been taking batches after batches of Indian Sign Language, and many people are learning it. So there is a hope that even if in every each and every part of society, if there is some person who is understanding sign language, it will be a bliss for all of us, because there is a lot that they are also missing, and at the same time we are also missing. Just an incident that
True.
when I had gone to one cafe, there was this man who was hearing impaired or deaf and mute, and it was just a coincidence that I had learned sign language. That's why he was visible to me, and I could communicate a little bit with him. And then he showed me his artwork, and then he told me about his initiative, the organization he's part of. So it was a wonderful communication, which I would have been missed that experience just because I was not so aware about it earlier. So such
Yeah.
incidences, if they get increased, I think there will be more and more communication and exchange of ideas.
And like you said, that this barrier, that if you do not know sign language, like today, for a few seconds, I had that barrier with you that I was not able to understand what you're saying, and doing facing that on every moment with every person is what a person with hearing impairment is facing. And this I
Definitely.
could see in one of the movies that I saw when we were, working on this episode. We were searching for more resources. So this film called as Khamoshi the Musical. So I want to underline over here that this is a very good movie with around 12 to 15 songs in the movie. But it is about a couple who are, deaf and mute, or rather, I will say they are a couple with hearing impairment, and how their life is limited because of this particular limitation. When their first kid is born, they are so curious to know whether the child is able to hear or not, that they are making different sounds, they are making rattle sounds, but the child was not responding to that. So the father gets frustrated and takes a pot and just puts it down and breaks it. And the moment it is broken, the child starts crying. And the means the pleasure and the expressions of that father at that point of time are just unbelievable and unimaginable for us, that he was so happy to learn that his child could speak, because that would be their gateway between the community and them. So that was so essential for them. And then how there are some difficulties in their life because of hearing impairment, job issues are there, then the mother is not able to communicate with others, and how this child only becomes the medium for them to communicate with outsiders. So they have shown beautifully in this movie the different challenges that a person with hearing impairment has, and also a family in which, you know, the child is able to hear and parents are not able to hear. So as a sense of responsibility, how the child has to take some decisions, and gradually when she becomes an adult, then also she has to take some decisions which are difficult for her. So the complexity and of family with issues like this have been put forth very well in this movie. So I would recommend Khamoshi for everyone. And just to underline that there are very good actors in that. Nana Patekar is there, Manisha Koirala is there. It's a very Seema Biswas is there. It's a very good movie.
Example, I think other than any disability, hearing impairment and visual impairment have been covered little bit more in our films, I can say. So our next episode will be on visual impairment, but talking about hearing impairment, it was not that tough to find a movie which is not depicting any character with hearing impairment. So to continue with that, we would like to discuss now about the effects, overall effects on life at different stages. Like you said, there was this couple. Then I remember seeing Burfi, and looking at that scene was very overwhelming when he was not able to get those clues when his father was trying to communicate with him because he was experiencing some health emergency. So at that time, I also realized that these individuals have to create some sort of communication system which is always visible. If their eyes are closed, if they are looking anywhere else, and those signals are taking place, and it gets really difficult. Similar incidents they have shown in a movie called as Hear No Evil. So there was major accident, someone broke that character's house, and there was a murder and many things which were happening. But as that person was not able to hear, and it was out of her sight in her house, but out of her sight, so she could not understand that alarm where something is happening and she has to be cautious. And then the entire movie goes on what how that one incident impacts her further life just because she is not able to hear. One more thing.
Also,
Yes, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so it's okay. Yeah, I was also saying that also there's this one more movie, Burfi, like Burfi, there is Iqbal also, in which it has been
Yes, yes.
shown that he's such a good player, but how having hearing impairment becomes a challenge in achieving his dreams over there. So they have also beautifully depicted that how the challenges are there for an individual with hearing impairment.
Yes. So while we have discussed so many films, I also now see this difference very clearly, that which we were talking about prelingual hearing loss and postlingual hearing loss. So in some of these characters, like in Hear No Evil, or even I think in Burfi, a little bit, not much, but a little bit of overlap of or the understanding of the language the other person is saying, and then the person is able to understand, making sense of what has been spoken. So this I think is possible if the person has lost their capacity to hear after the language has been developed. So some sense of lip movement and then translating it into voices in their head is possible. So that is also called something, it is called as phantasmal voices. It is like you are imagining that, okay, what that person might be speaking and making then the sense of what is being spoken. So this is
Okay.
also the skill that they use a lot of times, and it makes their life a little bit easier. Of course, then there is a chaos and confusion as well, but at times it is at their stake when the other person is not able to sign at all. So that is
Okay.
also something interesting. I
Also
must.
on these lines, there is this movie called Sound of Metal. It's on Amazon Prime, and in that they have shown that there is a young musician who is a part of a band, and he starts having that ringing of ear sensation, and then gradually, not gradually, I would say, and suddenly within 1 to 2 events, the hearing is affected majorly, and he goes to the doctor, and doctor tells him that around 80% of his hearing is affected. So he has been advised to put away the exposure of sound that is being done right now. But it's like music is all his life, so that's why he's not able to take that decision. Then he's advised about cochlear implants, so he goes for it. But then handling cochlear implant is also a challenge, because like you said, that if you have listened to language, you have heard language how it is, later on when you use cochlear implant, the language or the sounds are more of electronic sounds, so it's not like normal conversations or normal sounds. So that's why in this movie they have shown this, that what are the difficulties that he faces using a cochlear implant, and he doesn't want to use that, and how he handles that situation. So there is a beautiful depiction of this in the movie Sound of Metal on Amazon.
Thank you for this reference, and similar reference I think it is there in Bandish Bandits, because he's also a singer, and when he's been told that he needs a cochlear implant, what kind of distress he goes through. Here both of them are musicians, and I think that is relatable to or common in both of these characters, I must say. And that's how we understand that yes, these things exist and what kind of distress can be faced by people. Another beautiful reference I remember, after we started talking about music, there is this national anthem version which has been signed by children who are having hearing impairment. So it is, when I saw, there were goosebumps on my body. It is really beautifully made. So I would like to request our audience that please go on YouTube and try to see this version of national anthem. There is one which is signed by Amitabh Bachchan as well. So both of them are good, but the one which is by children is more authentic because it is by those children who are hearing impaired. There are many references, Dr. Pallavi. I remember we came to know. One of them was about a town, I think. So, would you like to tell us
Yeah.
more about that town?
Yeah, sure. So actually, when you mentioned about the history and the time in 1800s, when it was a difficult time for people with hearing impairment, at the same time, there's this place called as Martha's Vineyard, and it is in Massachusetts, USA only. And the good thing about this is that in 1864, this was the sorry in 1800s, not 1864 specifically, this was the place where there were like people who could sign, in the community who could sign. So it was, and the reason behind that was there were more number of hearing impaired people in that community. It was, if we see on in the numbers in US, it's like 1 in 5,000 people had hearing impairment, whereas in that particular town it was 1 in 150. So that was the starking difference. So out of every 150 people, one person was having hearing impairment. And also they were following some traditional beliefs, and because of that they were having marriages in close communities only. Because of that, this particular genetic kind of hearing loss was being transferred from one generation to another, and hence the number of people with hearing impairment were more over there. But this actually turned out to be an opportunity, and there everybody could sign, whether you were a hearing impaired person or a normal hearing person, everybody could sign. And that's why this particular thing is also called as MVSL, that is Martha's Vineyard Sign Language. So a particular name has been given to this sign language, and this is different from American Sign Language. And uh, because of this, it was observed that in that community, there was no disparity between a person with hearing impairment and a normal hearing person with respect to the income, the respect, the participation in community, participation with respect to going to the church and having active participation, taking responsibilities in community. Everywhere, everyone was equal. So it was like a utopia for people with hearing impairment. And this had continued nearly for around 100 to 200 years over there in 1800s. And that's how this MVSL comes. And from there, I want to ask you the question that you mentioned, one of the teachers who was the first deaf teacher of deaf children who brought this sign language. So where does this particular thing takes us to? Some school or some university? Can you put some light on that?
Yes, definitely. So, of course, there are one or two schools which started this revolution, which will further on increase the awareness and acceptance of sign language. So, that teacher is definitely there. Apart from that, there is one university called as Gallaudet University. Over there, everyone signs. So, professors teach over there using sign language. So I found it very fascinating that how all the courses and everything is designed in sign language. So of course the students who are hearing impaired, it is a bliss for them. Same university has created a lot of videos as well, awareness video, short films. They are available on their website or YouTube, so audience can check that out definitely. But yes, looking at such organizations, I really feel amazed at how there are many things that we are just not aware of. And once we start searching about it, then many resources and many of the evidences are there. When we were trying to find out what is there in India, unfortunately, there is no literature that, not much of a literature or evidence that is available. So maybe we will have to dig deeper, or maybe it is there in some of the local languages, or maybe it is with some of the local institutes, like how their institute started and all that history. But I think there is a long way, or there is this gap between us and that information. So I think we will have to dig in deep, but I'm sure that information will be there. Some of such towns or generations, or maybe schools or organizations must be in India as well. We just have to find out more.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, and when we were researching many of the what I can say, many of the resources were found because of this book called as Seeing Voices by Oliver Sacks. So when he decided to write about it, he really digged deep and did a lot of research on hearing impairment, and he spoke with many people. He went to many places. In this book, he is also mentioning two names of two authors, which I think all of us should read if we are interested in knowing more about sign language and hearing impairment altogether. So there is one author called as Harlan Lane, okay, and there is this one author called as David Wright. So David Wright lost his hearing capacity when he was 5 years old, and he was a good writer. Like he was established writer, I must say, and he has written, of course, about hearing impairment as well. So these two authors, we should really go and find out about them. There was one author who is a parent, Nora Ellen Gross. Okay, so she has also written about this Martha's Vineyard, which you have been speaking about, and she has written many other books. So these three authors, we should really see their work and explore it more. Do you have any other references which you came across? Any books for kids or anything?
Yeah. So like I was when searching, and as Reading Kida always believes in exposing children to different kind of situations, and exposing them to different topics with respect to neurodiversity. So we also wanted some books on hearing impairment. And some of them that I have got, I'll mention a few over here. There's this story called as Max Learns Sign Language, and it is by Adria F. Klein. And it's very amazing to see that this Max has a friend called Suzanne, who is a deaf and mute child in his class. And because he wants to communicate with her well, that's why he takes extra classes after school in his school itself to learn sign language. So, that is the level of commitment on his part, that he wants to communicate with his friend, and that's why he learns sign language. Then there's one more book called as Stories of Maya and Sid. So that is the series, and in that there's this Making a New Friend. So the story goes that this Maya is a young girl, a 6-7-year-old, and Sid also same age, and they meet in a garden for the first time, and they are like chit chatting, and this Sid, his other friends are not available, so he just comes to this girl and says hi and like that. And then they do a race, and after having a race, they are like who won and all. And then Maya said, oh, I think my this cochlear implant just got displaced, and then she's doing it correct. So he is surprised to know what is this cochlear implant. And then Maya makes him understand that she had problems in learning, in hearing, and that's why her parents took her to the doctor. And this particular device has been fitted inside her brain, and outside this is the receiver. And how, because of this, she is able to learn. So Sid is like excited to know all this. And the good thing is that children are very good at finding similarities. So Sid there connects with the difficulties that Maya had by telling her that, you know what, I also have difficulties in seeing. I have difficulties in seeing long distance things, and that's why I've got this specs. So it's so natural to get connected at this level, that okay, you have some difficulty, that's why you are having this particular device. I have some difficulty, that's why I'm having these spectacles. So they have connected this so well, and it's a very well narrated story by a teenager that I want to mention over here. His name is Akhand Dugar, and this has been promoted by NGO called as Listening Together. So it's a very interesting book. And then also there is one more, Bessie Needs Hearing Aids. This book is also written by a teenager, and it's about her own experience that, like I had said, that there is mild hearing loss, moderate hearing loss. Sometimes it happens that the mild hearing loss is missed at home, and mostly these people have difficulty in crowded places. So this girl, Bessie, in this book, when she goes to school and children are talking, lot many noises are there, she is not able to understand what everyone is saying. So she is taken to the doctor, and then they detect that there is hearing loss. And for that, we have to do this audiometry test, which is done by an audiologist and speech therapist, a speech pathologist. And they do this. And then it is found that she has some amount of hearing loss, and then she gets hearing aids. So this process of how hearing aids are needed, what is cochlear implant, and how sign language is important for communicating, such subtle things have been explained in these books. Have you seen any book in Indian languages?
Yes, so there is one book called as Meri Behan Sun Nahi Sakti. It is being translated by Arvind Gupta. In that book, they have shown that there are two sisters, and one sister is not able to hear. And then this sister is always with her, and how they communicate, how they get each other, how that another sister who is not able to hear, she is not going to school, she's been homeschooled, because parents think what will she learn in the school, because there is no sign language in school. And how then this sister sort of teaches her other skills like social communication and playing and all those things. So it is a very small book. It is available online on Arvind Gupta's website. We can access it from there. But apart from that, I think I have come across more books for adults than this.
Okay.
Yes. So I would like to ask, have you come across any like famous personalities who are hearing impaired?
Yeah, actually, when we were searching, so I was surprised to know that some of the names which we have known otherwise for different reasons, we never knew that they had hearing impairment. So I would also say that this itself is an achievement, that they are known for their discoveries and their achievements rather than being known for that they are hearing impaired. So some of the examples that I've seen is Thomas Alva Edison, who had, we say the person who was behind electricity and the bulb invention. He had also discovered nearly 1,000 other things, and it would be good to know that he was totally deaf in 1 year, and in other year also he had very less hearing ability. But the funny part is that he used to say that because of this, he's able to concentrate more on his work and he can start avoiding people after one point. So that's how he was using this. Then also we all know about the musician Beethoven. So he was also, after a period of time, by the time he wrote his symphony named Nine, that time he was also hearing impaired. Then also there is this movie named Children of Lesser God, and in this they have actually taken an actor who is actor with hearing impairment. This was her first movie, and the actress name is Marley Matlin. So she was there. Then with respect to India, if we go, there are few names that I want to mention over here. That like we have Olympics, we have Deaf Olympics, and there is this person named Rajiv Bagga who has received 12 gold in badminton in Deaf Olympics. Then also we have a writer, a deaf writer and scholar who is a strong advocate for sign language and for people with hearing impairment, Madan Vashisht. So he is also a very important personality in India who is working for hearing impairment. And there's this Saksham Trust who have actually developed various programs where movies and stories as an experience are given to visually impaired and hearing impaired people. And also in recent times, as we all know that Tokyo Olympics just finished off few days back. So Disha Dagar was a participant in golf who finished 50th. We all know about Aditi Ashok, that she was fourth, but Disha Dagar, who finished 50th, is a deaf and mute person. And she has come a long way to represent India at such a young age. So that's how there are people who have done and crossed these limitations and achieved something in their life.
Definitely, definitely, Dr. Pallavi. It is so great to know about all these resources. And I hope that our audience is also excited to go back and check these resources which we have mentioned so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
I think we are coming to the towards the end of our episode. Would you like to add something, Sonali?
yeah, no, I would just like to say thanks that it has been a great journey to explore these disorders or the conditions one by one and make a resource videos. So it has been a great pleasure, and I look forward for the next one. So next one
Yeah.
is going to be on visual impairment, as I was mentioning during our video. So it will come out soon. So keep an eye on the poster and videos which we will be sharing. Also, do
Yeah.
follow Reading Kida Library Instagram and Facebook page, and our YouTube channel as well. We will be sharing it with all of you, the links and everything.
Yes. Yeah. So like Sonali said, do follow us and follow Speak with Sonali on YouTube. And there you will get our videos and the previous episodes of Neurodiversity series also over there. And we will soon be coming with our next episode, which will be on visual impairment. And all the resources that today we have mentioned will be there in the caption along with this video. So we are ensuring that you get it in written format also, so that you can pick up those names and start searching and reading about them. So till then, happy reading and happy viewing some good movies and some having good experiences out of these movies and these books. Bye bye, everyone.